Here with Kaizo. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great, man. We got Rocket League in the rearview mirror, we've got Smash Bros coming through the windshield, and we've got Centralia versus Prairie, and both of these teams looking pretty good going into week number 4. Centralia, of course, coming off of a 15-0 sweep of Ephrata in their previous week, setting them 2-3-0, but Prairie no slouches of their own. They're coming in 2-1 after a 13-2 win over Morton V, with their only loss so far being against Mount Rainier Smash. So definitely two teams that are up in the upper echelons of the matchups that we've got for you guys, and definitely should be a good one to watch, Spicy.
Oh yeah, especially because there is some prior history with these two teams as well. Centralia and Prairie did face off last spring in playoffs and what I believe was quarterfinals there as well, with Centralia taking the win in that set in that year. But new spring, you never know what's going to be happening here. I'm super excited to get into this matchup.
Yeah, and Centralia did actually go on to get second place in that playoff bracket. They took that one behind a very dominant-looking Southridge varsity team. I mean, they looked so good all throughout the bracket. Centralia looked good going into that one as well. And you know what else looks good, Spicy, is a Zotac Gaming advertisement read, which we've got one for you right here. And we want to give a big shout-out to them for powering today's stream, because it's thanks to their incredible support that we're able to bring this broadcast to all of you at home and help to showcase all the amazing talent that we have here in the Scholastic esports scene. So let's all show our appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on social media. Make sure to join their community Discord as well and use the hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag ZotacUSA. That is ZOTAC, as you can see underneath me there when you post. Thank you to Zotac, and I think that we're ready to see some Smash Bros, Spicy. I think we're ready to get into it.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited to get into this matchup here. Two teams in the upper echelon, as we were talking about, teams with some prior history, and we're at the point now, like almost like the mid-season roughly, when it comes to WSSEA for Smash Ultimate, and these players are really starting to develop. You saw some like newer faces are a lot better now than they were at the start of the season. A lot more players are more refined, whether it be in their combos, the neutral game, edge guarding, offense, defense. I'm so excited here. You got to see really the evolution of gameplay here. Even if Smash Ultimate's kind of nearing the end of their lifespan, we're kicking off the first set. Kirby against the Donkey Kong here.
And for those of us at home, so Excellent is going to be Centralia. They'll be on the right-hand side of your screen, represented by the Donkey Kong. And across the way, Prairie Falcons will be taking up the left-hand side under the Zemnarco FR tag. Not an easy one to spell or to pronounce, but definitely going to be a challenging one to play against as well for this Donkey Kong, who is kind of prone to be a little bit of combo food here and can potentially cause some unforced errors there, as an unfortunate air dodge will cost this first stock from Centralia.
Unfortunate there, but you have to give props to Prairie's Kirby. Right off the bat, Marco has just been on an absolute tear when it comes to the combo game. You're watching the use of the throws, the follow-ups with the aerials, and really using the drill. The down there has been so critical on Kirby's kit. Just able to do so much there when it comes to combos. And I'm just seeing if they're going to be able to extend this lead, maybe even get some extra percent, get this DK into a kill situation.
DK can be very vulnerable off stage in this matchup if you can get him there as the Kirby, and if you can survive some of these harder hitting options. I'll go ahead and grab the stone there, cargo throw on the stage, and then it won't quite do it. Does manage to bounce off the stage, but nothing to save him there from that back air.
Yeah, nothing much you can do at that point. This DK has recovered nicely despite self-destructing in that first stock. Basically at an even percentage at this point, and DK just hit so hard, and it's so scary here if you are this Kirby player, because like, once again, cargo throw, going for another stage spike opportunity. The Kirby is able to recover here. It looks like not actually able to. Unfortunate stock at that point here, and suddenly the DK is now in the lead.
Yeah, running away with it, man. These cargo throws are so critical to this DK game plan. It's like, I don't know, like 40% of your offense, it feels like, is just grabbing the guy and chucking him around the stage. You'll get another one there to tack on some more percent. And really tried to end it all, Spicy, with that forward air. Can't find that one off the stage, but full stock lead here, give or take, maybe 30% away from being that case, and continuing to force this Kirby to go for these techs on the stage. I mean, you miss one of those, once you get to high percent, you are absolutely going to be sent flying, just like they send this DK flying. There's that drill that you were talking about going into that up smash.
Yeah, that's a really good pivotal point here for Prairie's Kirby here. Also being outside, but oh my gosh, the drill was able to reverse the situation there when the DK went. From Centralia was able to just find an edgeguard situation. Prairie reverses it with that drill, and that's such a critical part of this Kirby gameplay. Absolutely stealing that first game, and this is just such a great way to open up this set.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous part of this matchup for DK. I mean, we got to see just what he's capable of on the stage. If you can get those throws consistently, if you're blocking some of the less safe on shield options that Kirby throws out. But you get off stage at 0%, Spicy. I want to really make sure that everyone's aware. A 0% kill from that down air off stage is just so good at edge guarding this Donkey Kong once he goes for the helicopter back to stage. So big credit where it's due to Prairie for recognizing that opportunity. And Centralia going to need to be a little bit more careful about that one as we go into game number 2.
Oh yeah, definitely have to be very aware of that right now. And if you're this Donkey Kong player from Centralia, you know that you have a lot of opportunities to extend your combos here, get a lot of percentage. You saw that forward air into up smash string at that point, and already putting this Kirby into a dangerously high percent here. Kirby very light, able to be losing stocks very early here, especially against DK, who hits so hard here. We're at the point where you can find follow-ups off of throws, raw smash attacks as well. And both these characters now just trying to find one big punish, which is going to take this first stock here in the second game. And getting that first stock is so pivotal here in this game too.
The stone there, wow, actually immunes the ledge option from the Donkey Kong forward air. Very well may have set up for a kill there, but instead does find himself losing the stock instead. And now we'll get that cargo throws into the stage once more. Tech is not there, but not quite at the percent where that will be killing just yet. Kirby will live to see another day and try to put this Donkey Kong back in the blender. Has a bit of a stock lead, but Spicy, I mean, 136 on Kirby. You're not living through very many of these Donkey Kong options. That's assuming you let him touch the ground and play the game.
Yeah, it's just the difficult part of Donkey Kong. The disadvantage state is so difficult. You're able to find that forward air from just that position, and it is able to take the stock. But DK is suddenly now at 120%, and Kirby is such a strong character in a way, just being able to find kills at a fairly early percent. As long as this Kirby lives, they're able to potentially get the stock, extend this lead. It's just a matter of can they do this, because Donkey Kong here with 150% is able to hit a lot harder now too with the extra range, missing the forward smash. You're able to see a cargo throw once again. No stage spike here, as this Kirby's doing a really great job of finding those tech opportunities. Once again, we see another neutral air, just trying to find this stock, and Kirby's able to do it once again, this time using the down B.
Wow, pops out of the up B there, but manages to get him with the stone, and a lot of consistent techs here on that cargo throw onto the stage. You'd like to see, ideally, I believe this is Walter for Centralia on this Donkey Kong, mix things up a little bit, go for maybe some down throws off stage just for stage presence, because right now, it's not looking like he's getting as much mileage out of that cargo throw as he needs, and unfortunately misses the ledge, puts him in a precarious situation, and he'll be off stage once more at kill percent.
Yeah, and once again, Kirby just maximizing this advantage state here. Drill down into down smash sending to the left side of the stage instead of the right, so that won't be the stock. There's a footstool opportunity. Both players missing the smash attack, but this time, once again, Zemnarko with this Kirby is able to find that F smash and then take this game, take the second game, and take this first set here for Prairie.
Yeah, great start for Prairie, who, again, going up against a Centralia team who are coming into week number 4 undefeated and off of a 15-0 sweep in their last matchup. So definitely one that people have had a target on this team's back for quite a few weeks now. And that first win will be netting them 2 points in this matchup. As a brief recap for those of us at home who aren't super familiar with the format we've got going on here, we've got 5 matchups between these teams. Each one is going to be a best of 3, and then whoever comes out on top of that one is going to be getting the points. And why don't you break down that point distribution for us, Spicy? What do we got going on there?
Yeah, so here you have the first 2 sets here being with the rank 5 and rank 4 players, respectively, on each of these teams. Those both total up to 2 points apiece. And then the third set, the rank 3 player, that's 3 points. And then the last 2 players, the top 2 players, respectively, on both teams, have 4 points worth for their set. This means that even if you do win the first 3 sets, you are actually able to come back still
Yep.
by winning those last 2. And it's one of the most important things here. Each player has a lot of value to their team here. So on one hand, if you're Prairie, you're able to say, yes, nice. You got a great start here up 2-0 already, but you got to keep this going throughout the rest of your way. It really puts a lot of pressure on the entire team here just to perform and puts a lot of value, respectively. Going into this next set, we're going to see the Palutena coming up from Centralia. Meanwhile, Prairie bringing out a Zelda here.
And a matchup that should be favoring Palutena on paper, I would have to think. A lot of the things that Zelda does to typically lower tier characters, like the Phantom and like the Din's Fire, can be very oppressive if you don't have a way to deal with them effectively, but Palutena should be pretty capable of using that reflector and preventing them from getting spaced out as a result of it, maybe returning fire with the auto reticle, and then just trying to break the zone and get in with those neutral airs. That really feels like that should be the game plan for this Palutena. Maybe abuse some of those back airs as well. As you can see, once they get their feet set here, looking to be a little bit more comfortable moving around some of the larger hitboxes that the Zelda's throwing out, and has an offstage situation, gets that fire on the left side of the stage, and just like that, grabs that first stock despite a kind of shaky start to it.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You're going to really pay attention to this Centralia, this Palutena, their aerials. It's so strong here. Palutena's kit is just so defined with moves like that neutral air, the up air, that back air. It really, pretty much all of her airs are so strong. It's an unfortunate self-destruct at that point. It does happen at times here with those teleporting recoveries. Not always the easiest to control here, but this is really good here for Centralia.
Yep.
Already up 3 stocks to 1 now, Kaizo.
Yeah, and not really doing the worst for damage on them. I mean, 100 is not exactly the position you'd want to be in, but that's plenty of rage when you only need to get 1 stock in return for your 3. And a tech chase here with the rapid jab will push this Zelda off stage once more, where she has struggled a little bit as she's getting closer and closer to getting juggled to that kill percent. Up air won't be able to do it, and that up smash is not going to find a home either, Spicy. I think that one was pretty well evaded.
Now, pretty hard read they were going for there, but it doesn't even matter if they miss. Once again, this Palutena is just so oppressive here in this advantage state. It's being really difficult for the Zelda to find this first stock here. And Zelda's a character with a lot of great kill opportunities. Is able to find it there with that Phantom, but now has a pretty hefty lead that they have to start clawing their way through here. All about now just getting a lot of damage here on the second stock while not losing their last stock here. 128%. Really scary position to be in here if you are Zelda.
Yeah, it's gonna sound like cope, Spicy, but if you have to mount a comeback, it is actually easier once you got some rage to you. And 137, you're maxing that out, and wow, there's that reflector that we were talking about a little bit earlier. Sends that Phantom right back where it came from, and Centralia will take game number 1 of set number 2 and start to chase down some of these points that Prairie managed to get for themselves in set 1.
Yeah, it's a bit of a, I want to say it's kind of a way, just like a reference back to the Zelda series. You think of games like Ocarina of Time, where you actually do have that like sort of like reflection battle against Ganondorf with like the end there, and it's kind of just this thing here now also where you do see having all those specials does get reflected back, and it's kind of just the process here of how these things happen. Zelda does have a reflector of her own, but it's not like Palutena is a character that really utilizes those projectiles as much in terms of integral to their gameplay. Auto reticle is still an option, but explosive flame, not really a thing that does get reflected. So now you're going to see what's that counter pick opportunity here. The character's going to be locked in, but I'm really interested in the stage aspect here. I know in the first set, we locked in Final Destination really quickly here, but I'm wondering now for the Zelda, are we going back to Pokemon Stadium 2? We're actually going to Final Destination here, removing any sort of platforms. Gonna make it harder for Zelda to kill off the top, especially.
And it really does feel like the platform configuration that we saw in game number 1 was a lot more in favor of the Palutena. We saw a lot of those up air chains, which can be very difficult to land against if you don't have some kind of good way to shift your momentum or put out a disjoint in your hurt box or something like that. But now that you don't have any of that to deal with, I mean, the Phantom a lot more difficult to contend with once you have a flatter stage. But even without those platforms, man, I mean, that Palutena just going up for it and grabs that up air to take that first stock.
Yeah, this Palutena is doing a really great job here. Remember this now. Centralia's Palutena last week was doing absolute numbers here in this number 4 position, just being so impressive here with this offense and really just getting pretty hard to hit as well. Zelda can definitely have some opportunities to find these stocks, get some extra percentage here. That's a great dash attack just to cover some options. But you see just things like that auto reticle just beautifully placed, making it difficult here for the Zelda to really establish any positioning here. Because once again, it's another up air and just another disadvantaged state here that the Zelda has found themselves in. And this Palutena is just able to just keep racking up so much damage here, Kaizo.
And Palutena just has to sit back, which is why you see Zelda approaching, which kind of a rare phenomenon in the wild, but unfortunately that's the situation that Prairie's found themselves in if they want to make their way back in this game. Gets a good rapid jab there. I mean, even percentage, but a full stock lead here for Centralia on the Zelda will mean that something different is going to happen for this Zelda, and it's going to happen fast, as another good aerial will take the second stock off of this Zelda and put Centralia up in a position where they only need one more to take away 2 points and even out that lead that Prairie had managed to accumulate.
Yeah, and it's a greatly placed Inspire with that side B there from Prairie. Just seeing what's now going to be the option here. You've seen that they are able to get some percentage going for a bit, but this Palutena, once again, just stuffing out any Zelda's approach, because Zelda's approach options aren't exactly the best here, and every single option is just getting punished, whether it be by the auto reticle, the dash attack, maybe some type of aerial. The Zelda's having such a hard time getting in, and even just getting back onto this stage, we almost saw an incredible read there, just trying to follow that up with that recovery. And the Zelda now has some footing though, and you mentioned it before, but Zelda with Rage is pretty scary here, especially because those aerials kill insanely early.
If you get a sweet spot aerial, that absolutely will get the job done, even around 70%, but it looks like the forward tilt will be more than good enough to get that one done for Centralia. So a 2-0 in round number 1 for Prairie, answered back in kind by a 2-0 for Centralia in round number 2, and we are all tied up, Spicy. We're back even at 2 points to 2 points, and we could be in for a long one here.
Oh yeah, and that's what we like to see here. Teams who are really just going blow for blow at this point. You want to see these close matchups, especially at this point in the season here. A team like Prairie, who does already have a loss on their season, really trying to prove a point right now, saying that they can really hang with teams like Centralia, who, as we've been alluding to multiple times, undefeated here in this season up to this point. But really, it's anyone's game here, and these last 3 sets really gonna have an incredible story to tell. Really excited to see what we got going into these next few games.
And while we've got a second here between these two games, while we shift up the point value a little bit, so round number 3 going to be worth 3 points. Not that that's super important when everybody's all tied up like this, Spicy, but it is worth bearing in mind, and it is worth thanking Landfest for helping us build healthy communities through gaming. And they've got over 20 chapters across the U.S. with over 150 events per year. If you'd like to get involved in some of these events, you can go to landfest.com and check out the Washington chapters in Land and Emerald City Landfest to find an event near you. If you're in the Washington area and you want to stop on by, definitely do that. Say hi, get involved. We got even more esports action for you guys in those places, but we've got even more on the screen right now, Spicy. We've got Steve versus Bowser.
And what a matchup we are seeing already so far. The Steve being from Prairie's side, and we saw how Steve do really well from the side of Centralia last week, but we also saw Centralia's Bowser players are very strong overall here, despite the character not exactly being the highest right now. Bowser is such I think an underrated character. You have such a strong grab game, you have deceptively fast movement, deceptively fast aerials, that up B on the ground at a shield, very strong as well. And you're seeing Bowser kind of just keep up in a way, because Steve, yes, has a lot more damage, has some resources as well, but you can't underestimate a character like Bowser, who, if you're caught sleeping, will take your stocks very early, but then Steve is just gonna take my words and turn it around as they're able to take that first stock.
Man, Bowser can catch you sleeping, but Steve will... Wow! Speaking of sleeping, the hitbox extension on the minecart means that up smash kills, and dropping off the Halo platform for an immediate 53% Bowser blender. An excellent continuation from Centralia after getting down a little bit. Will have to deal with some shenanigans off stage from the Steve and get themselves back on. A very good recovery here from Centralia. That looked a little rough there for stock number 1, but we're already seeing the way that this matchup goes. I mean, Bowser gets beat on by Steve in neutral, but if you make one mistake, Spicy, you might just be burned to a spicy crisp by this Bowser Fire Breath.
And what a call out there with the side B. Not always the insane option, especially in the air, but that's just packing on so much damage, and this Steve has found themselves in a really scary spot here. That forward smash read isn't going to connect at this point, but a lot of Bowser's aerials will kill at this point here. The fair does get stuffed out by Steve's very own, and you're going to see now just to run in, to make it difficult for Steve to mine, and it's just so pivotal right now, as now Bowser from Centralia is just up a stock right now, but let's see if they're going to be able to keep this going, get some extra percentage as well, because Steve, we've seen it time and time again, they're one of the best characters in this game for a reason, making it difficult here, and we're suddenly at 1 stock apiece.
Look, I'll say it, man. Minecart just should not be a command grab, but I'm not going to get onto my Steve soapbox this time. I think I did that last week, so I'll save the lecture for this time and instead just talk about what an excellent job this Steve for Prairie has done in recovering on the recovery. Because don't forget, he was the one that had the initial lead, and then Bowser broke his way back in. But now Steve's starting to take control of the later game of this set between the two of them. Beginning to try to fend him off to get those iron tools back. Not a whole lot of resources to work with here. Actually only working with stone. So no minecarts available, no anvils available. And if Bowser can continue to mount this pressure and prevent this Steve from mining, well, that's not going to matter if you fall into an up smash.
Yeah, that's a rough smash right there. But what a call out there from that Steve from Prairie. You were noticing that the Bowser did have a slight tendency to recover or get out of a disadvantageous state with those like fast falling moves such as that down there, the stall and fall, if you will, just to get back to the stage quickly and get into an offensive position yourselves. But great call out, great adaptation from that Steve player, and that was such a back and forth game. I'm really curious to see what kind of like adjustments are made going into this, because it really felt like, especially towards the middle, it could have been like anyone's game.
Yeah, and I do think that you might be onto something with this whole Bowser a little bit underrated thing. I mean, I'm not going to try to tell you that Bowser's a top tier or anything, but some of those options, like the forward tilt is a really good 2-frame tool. He's got excellent burst options in that forward air, and also being able to use that up B out of the shield that you were talking about. I mean, these are great tools for a character like Bowser, who is a heavyweight and does have a lot of good kill power. You don't typically see them have a lot of these better bursty and, you know, good frame data options, but Bowser absolutely does have some of them to at least continue to pressure this Steve. But you have to avoid the shenanigans from Steve, man, and that includes these down tilts at the ledge, which can be very difficult to find your way back into. He does manage to get back on stage, but it's only a matter of time before you end up getting caught in another one of these minecarts, unless you can keep calling them out like that.
Yeah, it really feels like a lot of this matchup is just determined by like who is getting those better callouts here. Bowser definitely gets a lot more in terms of damage and knockback from those like harder punishes, those harder callouts there. But Steve, especially with those resources that are being built up at this point, is able to get any percentage here, maybe even take a stock. There's the F tilt, as you were talking about once again, not using a 2-frame situation this time, but is able to be thrown out at least in neutral again. And back throw is once again throwing us into such a close first stock situation that is not going to take the stock at this point, but there's the anvil, and that's going to be a here for Steve.
Bro, the Anvil has such a wacky hitbox on it, as we'll see a
It
grab there.
does.
I'm pretty sure he got hit on the underside of the Anvil and got stage spiked somehow. I'm not really sure
Yes.
how that even happened, but he lost a stock, Steve lost a stock, and regardless of how we got here, Spicy, we're back to even, at least in the stock count, and really close one between these two players. I mean, I think this is the closest player-by-player matchup that we've seen in quite some time. I'd really love to see this one go to 3 games, and the way that this Bowser's playing, it is possible, especially with these kinds of unforced errors by the Steve, and SD there is coming at a very bad time for Prairie.
Yeah, and Bowser with a stock advantage is such a scary character to go up against here, because Bowser can really start going for these riskier options here. Start using that command grab side B as well. You can go for more shield break punishes if you really are feeling it now. And Bowser here, the more percent you trade against a character so heavy like Bowser, it's just so scary at this point. You just make it a lot more difficult for you to get any extra stocks. Well, Bowser, you're just increasing their range. It's going to make it really easy for them to find these extra stocks. Steve got to try and take him for a ride here and also get some resources now, but you're already built up to 82% at this point, and you have to figure out a way to get this stock early before Bowser takes it now. But hey, we get the trade, but Steve is now once again at like 87%.
Yep, 87 is pretty close to kill percent, but that's assuming that Bowser's on stage and capable of doing something with it. A jab there will put Steve in disadvantage, but I mean, Steve doesn't really have a disadvantage, so he'll instead combo the Bowser up, get that good up smash damage, and find himself off stage once again. Almost the same interaction again with that extended hitbox on the up smash, but Steve lives to see another day regardless and does have a diamond in the inventory if they can find their crafting table in order to use it. Bowser kind of beginning to shark around that one, and Steve now in an edgeguard situation does manage to get the diamond sword, so that is big damage if they can connect with one of these tool moves. That back air very well might do it from the side of the stage, but so too will the up B. I think, Spicy, that one maybe could have been DI'd a little bit better, but regardless of how it was DI'd, the stock is taken either way, and Centralia managed to even things out here against Prairie.
Yeah, I think it definitely could have been DI'd a little bit better here. I was wondering if the Steve was going to be able to live that, but I think a big reason that ended up finding that stock, that was kind of just a surprise burst option there from Bowser. Like, at this point, you see a lot of, like, up B out of shield, especially earlier in that game, was being used, like, at the lower percent to just tack on some extra damage or to get yourself out of a bad situation. I was not expecting that to be used as a kill option. I'm not sure if that was intended to be used as a kill option. If so, brilliant gameplay there, just being able to find that. And once again, that was such a close matchup here. Yes, there was the unforced error onto that Steve, but here we are going into a game 3 in the 3rd set. This one has a lot more like value, at least when you look at it in the big picture here. Even if this set as a whole doesn't have the most points.
And I do think that this one, for my money, Spicy, is going to boil down to the patience of the Centralia Bowser. You have to be so careful about picking your times to approach this Steve, making sure you're not just walking into damage. You can't let him mine, but you also can't just walk at him in a straight line. You got to toe this weird line with this character. And I do think that, you know, some of the Bowser game plan isn't lending to that perfectly well. As what a combo here. That's a custom one for 87% on this Bowser to kick things off. And I really do think that the biggest flaw that I've seen in this Bowser game plan that I want to see shored up here in game number 3 is these landing aerials, the down air and a little bit of the down B coming down from disadvantage. It feels like it should be very rewarding, but oftentimes you just get caught with even more damage. So there's another one right there. That down air immediately leads to a punish. We've seen a lot of that. If he can avoid doing that, then I think this Bowser is going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, you're seeing some mix-ups like there. You saw the falling nair into back air, and Bowser is a character who you don't expect to have like short combos like that, but it does end up being the case. Steve is able to just use the down air on their own, the anvil once again, to secure that stock, and here we are, 2 stocks apiece. It's been very back and forth so far. Bowser is a character that once again has just been able to find stocks like relatively early or just build up extra percentage despite getting comboed like crazy sometimes from Steve, who you mentioned the custom combos before, just able to take this Bowser for a ride, those big hitboxes especially. But here we are. This second stock is going to be so pivotal at this point here. Seeing Steve just going for some mining, is able to bait out the Bowser approach and also just get some extra damage here as well. And this could be big for both of these teams here. Just a matter of who gets this next stock here, Kaizo.
And Steve looking on the better end of this one, man. I mentioned the patience, and it really does feel like a little bit lacking here for Centralia. Bowser once again trying so desperately to approach this Steve. It's so challenging to find the right moment, and if you guess wrong, minecart to the face, forward air, whatever it is, forward smash, everything just feels like it does so much damage, punishes you so hard. And because of that, Centralia on their final stock. And this Bowser does have Steve at kill percent, so can at least potentially find a way back in with one more good read. That's assuming, again, that you can even hit the ground, falling forward air. Be a decent option to create some space for you, give you some breathing room, and that should do it and bring us down to a final stock situation.
Yeah, and this is big here. You saw Steve now with the diamond, able to get some other resources as well at this point. Bowser just trying to break through the blocks now, but this is just pivotal time here for Steve, who's now able to put that anvil down. Great parry there from the Bowser, who's using a lot more fire breath in this matchup, it feels like. Just trying to get some extra damage here. Trying to see if they're able to land. I like the use of the air dodge as well, just mixing up that approach option. He's throwing out another fire breath, and this is scary. Bowser with maybe a hard read here can definitely find the stock, and we're almost like in a last stock situation.
And that down air doesn't get punished, but grabs him with the Bowser side. Hang on a second, 97% on this Steve. A back air or something will do it. There's a grab and an immediate back throw. Give me stage presence, says the Bowser, as Centralia trying to find one final hit without Prairie securing another one of these diamond F smashes. And the down air that I said would be the downfall of Centralia poetically comes back to bite Prairie in the butt. Centralia, in a nail-biting game, managed to take the next 3 points over Prairie and put them up 5-2 over Prairie.
That's like storybook almost there, because we talked about it a lot in that game 3. The Bowser, if I remember right, they lost that first game because of a down there getting punished at the end. So, but now that takes the final stock in that third set, gives Centralia the lead as well, and they're trying to keep this undefeated season alive at this point, and that's a huge thing here. That's at least a big moral victory as well for Centralia, because yes, you have the points that we see on the bottom of our screen, but for the rest of their teammates, that's a lot of great momentum here as we go into the top 2 players from both of these teams.
And still not out of reach for Prairie, though, Spicy. If they do win both of these next 2 matchups between the number 1 and number 2 players, that is 8 points, which will put them up above Centralia by pretty comfortable margin. But if Centralia walk away with either of these next 2 games, that is going to be curtains for Prairie, and Centralia will continue their undefeated streak and advance to 4-0 here in week number 4. And, you know, Prairie definitely giving them a run for their money here. I mean, this is a matchup that we've had our eye on for a little bit, one that I thought was going to be close, but if it's anything like that game number 3, then this could be going down to the wire all the way to the last stock, last hit situation. We wouldn't have it any other way, as it looks like we are ready to get underway here in game number 4. We've got Terry, we've got Marth, and it's going to be, Centralia. I tried to pronounce the name, that was a mistake, it was excellent, I kind of butchered that, but it's going to be Terry representing Centralia and Marth representing Prairie.
An interesting matchup here. You not only is Terry a character here with the fighting game mechanics, you don't see this character very often, but Marth especially, you have not seen like often like anyways nowadays. Just because like Lucina is just traditionally seen as the better option here, the more consistent. Martha's with that tipper hitbox, you get so much value when you have like proper spacing, but the reality is it's just so inconsistent in this game that like you just see players just really going to other different sword options. So it's so pivotal here for Prairie, this Marth player, to show what they can do at this point, because Marth is definitely a character where yes, you do lose out on a lot of consistency, but when you get those big moves, you're able to get that perfect spacing, you get so much value off of it. But this Terry, 100%, go meter, going for those super special moves, just seeing what we got here, because this first stock's so big. Great up tilt, though, to get the stock here.
Man, they gotta give Power Geyser some more power, because that thing it's such a
They do.
cinematic move, and it's a shame two of them land there and can't quite find the kill. Smarth is very much at kill percent for the Terry, though, or at least will put him in an offstage situation. Not an easy character to edgeguard in this matchup, but you'll definitely get that jab rising tackle, and that'll do it from just about anywhere on the stage at that percent. So still a very close one. And you know, Spicy, this is a very fascinating matchup because it really does feel like both of these characters just beat on each other. If you get mid to long range, Marth absolutely has every advantage. But as soon as Terry can manage to break that zone, all of that good frame data on the shield, so difficult to contend with, and so difficult to make it back to the ledge here for Centralia. They'll lose that one at about 50%, so very unfortunate for them there, and a bit of a taller mountain to climb now in this one.
A taller mountain for sure here. Marth does have a decent combo game if you're able to get those aerials, get that spacing down pat. But now it's just a matter of, can they get this combo game going before Terry gets him started? And you see the counter being used very effectively at that point, not being thrown out very often. In fact, that was the first use of it there, knowing pretty much completely that there was going to be an option there. But there's once again the jab rising tackle, and here we are once again in a last stock situation. Let's see how this ends up playing out here, Gaizo.
60% on the Terry and beginning to lay the hurt onto this Marth as well. Hang on a second, lacking an air dodge, that might just do it. Magnet hands will barely get you back to the stage, and narrowly missing that down air as well. Could have been an excellent reversal option, but instead will reset into neutral. Marth gets a good grab even without the melee grab range. But Terry back with that go meter, immediately goes for that Buster Wolf and gets good damage out of it. Power Guys are really testing my knowledge of all of these options names and throwing out just about everything under the sun, trying to make something land home and take out this last little bit of damage. But another good counter will give Marth the stage control, and this very well might be it.
Yeah, that's going to be the stock right there, but what a first game. It's unfortunate that the Terry wasn't able to recover in that second stock, but props to the Marth for being able to keep it cool, and despite the fact that Terry did have that go meter in the last stock, which is where Terry, I think, thrives the most, where you not only have the rage with the 100%, but also the big intimidation factor of just having the go, so you can get the up tilt into Power Geyser, or the multiple different ways to chain into Buster Wolf towards the side of the stage. Great gameplay overall here from Prairie's Marth, just to be able to take that first game. But if that last set told us anything, Game 1 might not be the entire story. I'm excited to see the adaptations being made here in Game 2 and maybe even in Game 3.
I absolutely 100% agree with you there, Spicy. And I also want to point out that that last stock coming credit of a very good edge guard there from Prairie, which we don't see a whole lot of at this level, but especially in a matchup like this where Marth really doesn't have a whole ton to fear from Terry off stage. You can kind of dictate the distance that you engage with and wait for some of those burst options to come out that otherwise could surprise you. I really like the fact that Prairie went off stage and was willing to kind of try to exploit one of the admittedly few weaknesses that this Terry has. Can be very telegraphed off stage. You have to use a laggier option to get that horizontal recovery. An excellent job there capitalizing on it as we get underway here in game number 2, and it's combo city for this Marth. Hello!
Yeah, I forgot what game we were commentating for. That reminded me straight up of like Melee Marth, where you saw all those juggles with the up tilts, the up airs. Almost felt like they were L-canceling some of those aerials as well, just to extend that. Great stuff here from this Marth, but this Terry has once again found themselves in a situation. They have that go meter as well as being in a spot where they can definitely take a stock early, whether it be from those super specials or even finding an opportunity right there. There's the great patience to get the up tilt into Power Geyser, and despite those big combos we saw from that Marth, Terry's the first character here to be able to take that opening stock.
Wow, and just get up and do it, man. Buster Wolf for 31.5%. Tack on Power Geyser on top of that, and you are getting pretty darn close to evening up this percent. A good counter will at least create some space for the Marth here and set up this edge guard, and forward smash from, I don't know, Memphis, essentially, will definitely get it done there for the Marth. Does end up in the Terry blender as a result of it, but manages to fall out before taking too much damage, but still rolls in to that F smash. An excellent catch there from the Terry.
A great catch as well here, and you're just seeing this Terry so strong now in this advantageous state. You're finding all these combos here, those tilts into those aerials, but also that's another unfortunate stock there. But here we are, we're going into a game 3, and this is a very pivotal game 3 as well now, because Centralia can't win this set straight up here by getting this next game. Meanwhile, Prairie has the opportunity to really take us into a final game 5 or a final set 5, which will determine the entire outcome of this match.
Well, it has been a very back and forth affair between these two players. Each of them, I mean, like I said, it just feels like both of them beat on each other just at different points in the game, different ranges as well. So I think that Centralia hoping that no continued support here from Prairie from this Marth, but we are thankful, Cherry, or not Cherry, you're not Cherry. Last cast was Cherry, you're Spicy, and we're thankful for the continued support of Seattle-built PCs, of WSSEA, and the Scholastic esports scene, because Seattle, wow, I am butchering this, we'll try this again. Seattle-built PCs, there we go, are the custom PC builders trusted by the pros. Since 2020, they've been crafting incredible rigs for world-famous esports players, content creators with millions of fans, and even the developers of your favorite games. Not only that, Spicy, Seattle Built wants to work with you and to create the perfect PC for your needs whenever you're ready. So if you're looking for a custom PC built by people who care, check out Seattle Built PCs at seattlebuilt.com. That's S-E-A-T-T-L-E built.com. And you can get a Seattle-built PC of your own, especially if you're out in the WSSEA area. Drop on by, give them a follow, and make sure that you stay engaged with your local scene and all of the excellent tech that they've got coming out of Seattle-built. And we've got one more game remaining in this set, Spicy, to determine whether Centralia walk away with this in game number 4, or if Prairie can extend us to a game number 5 and give us as much Smash Bros. Action as we could possibly hope for here in week number 4.
There's a lot of thinking going on from both sides, it looked like here. I wonder if it was a stage discussion here, because we saw both of them locking in the same characters. Looks like we're going to small battlefield here for this last game, and I really like this for Marth, especially because the perfect placement of those platforms, you're able to catch a lot of characters with those like up tilts, your different forms of aerials as well, and it's really nice. You're seeing that up tilt just immediately being thrown out. Juggle opportunities once again, very reminiscent of how we started off that second game, and now it's just a matter of can this Marth extend these combos, get these extended punishes, because you're seeing such a great job almost getting that forward smash tipper as well, which could have even taken the stock, but here we are. It's so close so far here in this opening stock.
You can already see the stage pick selection from this Marth paying out dividends. Like you were saying, catching all of these tech chases and almost managing to get a good read on the roll there. And a counter! Oh my goodness, one for your mother. That'll do it from all the way across the stage. Taking the first stock, answered back immediately by this Terry, and it's 0-0 going into stock number 2.
And that's exactly what you want to see in a matchup like this. That's the punish you're looking for here. Marth kind of has to just outsmart the Terry here, just because of the difference in like strengths at this point, especially because in that close range, Terry's so strong here, and you're seeing why. All those percentages are just being built up, and it's kind of running away at this point here. Terry has a lot of opportunities to figure out where they're going to be able to take this stock. They could be going into that jab, rising tackle once again, and here we are. This Marth is suddenly on their last stock here, Kaizo.
Yeah, and this is the last stock for Prairie as well, or at least their hopes of walking away from week number 4 with the win and putting a stain on the otherwise unspotted, something like that, on the really good-looking Centralia record. 69% on this Terry is a decent start to a kill, but we'll have to add that one up quite a bit more if they want to be able to grab this kill, especially now that the go meter comes online. But hang on, Spicy, before you can even throw out an option, that go meter gets taken away.
Yeah, and now it's a last stock situation here, but scary spot here for both of these players, especially because Terry doesn't have the go meter up, but look at these Marth combos starting to come out in full force now, just getting those juggle opportunities, throwing out another counter, this time getting punished for it by that up smash, and here we are. Marth can definitely take the stock early, especially if we find this Terry in an edge guard situation. You're seeing this Terry go for these things, and that's beautiful patience, baiting out that counter, making them think twice, and that's a big read they were going for at that point. But jab, rising tackle is going to be the stock here, and that's gonna take it here for Centralia.
And man, I'd call that exact change on that one as well. It killed off the top and got the screen splat as well, but I think that if you take 5% off of that Marth, maybe, I don't think that that is enough to get the job done. So exactly when you need it, Centralia throw out the perfect option at the perfect time and put themselves outside of striking distance of Prairie here as we go into game number 5. And Spicy, we will still get to see this last matchup because it does still have implications for points and for seeding a little bit later on, but make no mistake, Centralia absolutely going to be walking away after that game number 4 with that 4-0 point in week number 4 and successfully bringing Prairie their second loss and putting what has been a very confident looking Prairie high school team back down to 500, back down to even.
And it's so crazy. Oh my god, we're getting a Ganondorf Ditto here for this. I am so happy. This is just such a fun matchup here, just to see what we got here, because the Ganondorf Ditto is pretty much just all about stunting on the other player, which is kind of the most fun gameplay you could just see here, whether it be for the crazy dash dancing that you're going to see at that point, which Ganondorf really normally doesn't do, because very short dash and not very fast movement. But it's so fun here because both these characters just hit so hard, and you have such a great way to find these punishes. You're going to see a lot of attempts for down aerials, maybe some up tilts, going crazy off stage here in Ganondorf, because that's how you win here, and that's the reverse up air hitbox, actually finding a stock here with an extended edge guard sequence. What did we just see, guys?
Oh, we got to see exactly what you advertised, just stunting on the opponent just for the sake of it. I do want to point out, both, you could have picked different skins at least so we could see what's going on, but yeah. I think that it doesn't really matter. The answer is probably going to be Carnage one way or the other, and it is Centralia off to a one-stock lead here over Prairie in the ever-critical Ganondorf Ditto. And I heard a very reliable source one time tell me, Spicy, that nobody beats up Ganondorf quite like Ganondorf. It really does seem that this character has all of the answers to all of his own weaknesses. And a great F-tilt there off of the set. Hello, going off stage for the Warlock Punch? Are you kidding me?
We just saw like the wizard foot, the down B, get canceled off the edge as well, and going into a reverse aerial Warlock Punch. That would have been the most insane clip I think I've ever seen at like any level of Ganondorf play. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see it, and these Ganons are just going at it once again. You're seeing the neutral airs being thrown out. There's a hard read option, not gonna head it here with the reversal, but what a sequence we've been seeing so far. Charging up that F smash, has to hold it. Not going to be able to get anything, but does get the parry into the jab, and we're throwing out those neutral Bs, reversing it multiple times, trying to see if that ends up eventually maybe getting a stock here.
And Centralia really good at these wizard foot edge cancels, which, one of the few movement tools that Ganondorf really has. A side B there from Prairie will set up for that down smash and give them stage control. No edge guard comes out, though, which does mean that Centralia, are capable of recovering, but it will be Prairie that lands that back air, and, 120% is technically a lead, Spicy, but in this matchup, it might as well be an even game. I say that back air will land from just above that right PS2 platform, and Centralia not only taking the game in week number 4, but now putting themselves up 1-0 in the ever-crucial Ganondorf Ditto here in game number 5.
Here, and especially because both of them are rocking the same color, there's a lot more pride that goes into this matchup as well here. So definitely really eager to see who's going to be able to play here. They're locking it in once again. They're like, nah, I'm not switching off. I'm going to win this. I'm going to be able to keep my skin. Definitely reminiscent of some of the most iconic Melee salty sweets almost here. Just have it now. So excited to see what we got here, because we're already seeing them go absolutely crazy. That's unfortunate there. But I'm wondering if we are going to see it. No, we're not going to see the homie stock, unfortunately. But hey, maybe a comeback. Maybe that's all part of the process. You never know.
Or maybe it was an intimidation tactic from Centralia. They've got a game to burn here because they've got a little bit of a lead going on, going off stage and actually briefly saving the Prairie Ganondorf with that reverse up air, but can't manage to find their way back to the stage either way, and things are back to even once more, Spicy. One stock lead is nothing in this matchup.
Yeah, especially when both these characters just hit so hard, especially against each other. You're seeing the flying side B now. Charging up that F smash, not going to get a punish. Waits for it. Not able to get anything off there. You're seeing great use of that down tilt once again from both these sides. Up smash going to come out here, not going to take a stock. You're able to get to that wizard foot, which does take that stock. And suddenly now, this might be the last stock of this game here for Prairie.
Yep, they are on their... I mean, it's not really a tournament stock, but I guess it's their weekly stock, you could call it, as Centralia continuing to pressure this ledge. I mean, one good down air would do it off stage, but instead we're going to be battling it out in neutral a little bit more. Up smash does not quite land at the read. Hello, a second read, and the Warlock punch comes out. And look at that, the respect from Prairie to just go, oh my god, I almost got hit by that. And they do get hit by that F tilt. They'll get sent off the stage. Volcano Heel Explosion will not be able to do it, but another offstage situation, does manage to get back on.
Yeah, and now it's the patience game, which is so scary against Ganondorf, who is going for those hard reads here. Dash dancing in place, trying to bait out an option, it looks like here. And what's going to be the last play? Just stands up, jabs. Doesn't get the edge canceled that time, but that is going to be the stock, unfortunately. Crazy enough, we had a Ganondorf Ditto. I don't think we saw a single down air spike towards the side on either side of the stage. We didn't see the volcano kick connect. It's like, oh, unfortunate. We saw some great tech skill. Don't get me wrong. Well, we didn't see any of the crazy, super flashy highlight moments that we typically see here in the Ganondorf Ditto.
Yeah, I feel robbed, man. I mean, thank you to those players. I appreciate you for bringing us that kind of content. We absolutely love to see the Ganondorf Dittos here, and just reinforce the fact that in addition to a competitive atmosphere, it's all about having fun as well at this level.
Oh, yeah.
So shout-outs to Centralia, shout-outs to Prairie. Both of you guys, absolutely great competitive spirit, in addition to a little bit of fun having on the side. We love to see that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and definitely a big shout out to Prairie as well, because they were really giving Centralia a run for their money pretty much the entire night here. You go back to those third and fourth sets especially, had any of those changed, we would not see a Ganondorf Ditto in this last set, which would have been insane. It just goes to show how talented this team is. Just don't look at their 2-2 record now and just think, okay, they're not as good. They're only 500. This team is very talented. I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a deep run if they make it to playoffs. And it just goes to show the level of talent here across Washington State here in WSSEA, because both Centralia and Prairie have put up a great performance here, not just with the gameplay, also with the sportsmanship. Super excited to see how these teams both go in the rest of the season.
Yep, they did both make a playoff run last time. We'll see if they run into each other later down the line in the playoff hunt a little bit later on as well this year. But that's going to do it for us with the Smash Bros. I want to give one more final thank you to Zotac, Landfest, and Seattle Built PCs for helping us bring this stream together and supporting us every step of the way. And a big thank you to Connie and Taylor and everybody at Landfest behind the scenes making this one happen and bringing us all of the dirty work so that we just get to yell at video games. It's my favorite thing to do, Spicy, and I know that you feel the same way.
Oh, yeah.
And we are done for tonight, but if you want some more WSSEA action, we've got Rocket League coming up on April 1st. That's going to be at 4 p.m. PST, which I believe is 6 p.m. EST, and I don't know, you can Google that if you're not quite sure. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you next time, and that's going to do it for now.